hand was like shaking a bit because it was my third attempt.
Why do MBA after being a lawyer?
I do not want to do one thing for my entire life. I think last time I studied math was back in 12th grade, which had been like close to 7 years. I could only attempt 10, but turned out I got all the 10 correct. Even though my score was the least in maths, my percentile was the highest in maths.
Okay, your attitude has to be, I'm not strong at Quant, but I'll work so hard in Quant that it will become my strength.
If you're calm, that luck will favor you.
So now you converted B, you converted S.
Yeah, I have Bangalore, Calcutta, then Kozhikode, Shillong, Udaipur. I think these are the conversions till now. I'm waiting for Lucknow.
Hi Darshin, okay, very happy to have you here. Okay,
Yeah.
this is the second time I'm meeting you after that IRL event. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
So very nice. At that time, I think things were still like slightly uncertain because interviews are pending.
Yeah.
But now I can see that you are a lot more relaxed.
Yeah, very relaxed.
Which is very good to see.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to figure out about your profile. So can you just tell us quickly about your profile?
So I'll start with my marks and all. So in 10th, I scored 91.7%. In 12th, I scored 82.4%. In graduation, I have a 7.56 GPA out of 10.
Okay.
And then I have 2 years of work experience.
And you're a non-engineer, right?
I'm a non-engineer. Yeah. I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
I worked in a corporate law firm and I was handling mergers and acquisitions and private equity transactions for that.
Okay.
Then I worked there for 2 years and then I gave CAT and here I am in front of you.
How was the job? Was it hectic? Or?
Yeah, it was very hectic. It was, I think, like there were like 12-hour days, 14-hour days.
Oh, really?
And like,
painful.
And like plus Mumbai travel in the locals and all. And I stay pretty far away from my house. My office is pretty far away from my house. So like I had to travel a lot because of that. So because of that, I feel like I didn't get a lot of time to prepare for CAT during that time. So I had to manage somehow like 1 hour, 2 hours every day. A little bit. And some days you can, some days you can't. But then over a period of time, I realized that, okay, my CAT journey is going well. So I decided I'll quit my job, give 3 months properly to CAT and give it my best shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you take CAT before this year, before 2025?
Yeah. So I've taken CAT. This was my third attempt.
Okay.
In my first attempt, I studied two months religiously and I tried my best. But that year it was 2023 and the math section was horrendous. So I think that I flunked that section and I couldn't like convert anything.
How much did you score?
I scored 96.28 that year.
But math was very bad.
Math was pathetic.
That was okay. It will give you confidence, no, that you did well in the other two. Okay. And in 2024?
2024, I didn't prepare at all. I just went in because I planned I'll at least work for 2 years and then give CAT so that my work ex score is also very nice. So I just gave the CAT for the sake of it so that I'm in touch with CAT. And somehow the paper turned out easy and I scored really well. I scored 99.2 that year.
Very nice.
So that gave me confidence that, okay, even if I try one more year and if I leave my job, then I'll have that, okay, I can do it again.
Good. So, and how much did you score this time?
I scored 99.92.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so very good.
Upward progression.
No, your profile also is good. So one thing I wanted to know is when you quit your job, it is obviously a risk.
Yeah.
But were you sure that if say something happens on the CAT day, CAT is at the end of the day Monday, right? Anything can go. So suppose you didn't do well, would you have, how are your opportunities? You think you would have gotten a job quickly or?
Yeah, I was pretty sure. So basically, my main reason for working 2 years was even after join after 6 months, right? After, for example, my interview season is done and after everything, I'll still get a job easily. Okay. Because I know people in my firm only who would have hired me at that point of time.
Then it was
so
not
it was
that
very,
big a risk.
Yeah, it was a very comfortable thing for me. But I was like, at least I should give my best shot.
100%. No, the other reason was when you were taking that break, because I always feel that for people, especially say you're a software engineer or there are certain aspects, when you lose your job, trying to get another job is okay, but it won't be as comfortable. You'll have to either go to a new city, or something, or you have to restart. Something or the other is always the case. But in your case, because you're a lawyer with who has like enough contacts in this, I think for you getting back into the industry is not too tough.
Yeah, not very difficult, definitely. Yeah.
Good. And when you are preparing again, say August, September, what were the colleges that you are targeting?
So it was very clear. I wanted to go to ABC. And my last choice would have been L this year, and FMS was also there. So I think these 5 colleges was the one I was targeting, and A to be very specific because A I've heard has a lot of diverse profile candidates. So it would have been good for me as well. So A was my main target, and B, C were like on same grounds for it.
I think you would fit into any of the institutes, A or B, or maybe C. C is more like quantitative, engineer friendly. But A or B, I think you will fit in very easily. An issue.
Definitely. We recently met like Bangalore people, like people are joining, and I saw like 2, 3, 4 lawyers there also. So I realized, okay, no, there are people.
No. That is always the case. In general, I think there are always people with diverse profiles. It is just that many of the engineers get so much highlighted, that people ignore that there are other people also there. But basically, when you go into the institute, you suddenly realize that we had doctors also. We had like 2-3 doctors. And I recently met another doctor in one of the interviews, and he was saying that, okay, I know somebody who did an MBA 10 years back. And then I had to tell him, no, that is not the case. Every year, at least 2-3 guys, 2-3 doctors, join it. It is not like once in 10 years somebody does it. It is just that people don't notice it.
I think those profiles are very, very less.
They don't get highlighted quite a lot. For different reasons, but okay. Anyway, so how was your preparation in the last 2-3 months? What did you focus on?
So, coming from a non-math background, and like I think last time I studied math was back in 12th grade, which had been like close to 7 years. So I was really sure that maths is not my strong point. My main strong point would have been DILR and verbal. That too also because I had given one aptitude exam before this back in my 12th grade. So I had that base for logical reasoning and verbal ability. So that's why I thought I'll focus on these 2 sections. I'll make these my strong point and move and focus very strategically on maths, cover the main important topics first, get those like important marks, the main questions which cover like 16-17 questions out of arithmetic algebra. I'll cover those properly first and then move on to more nuanced chapters like geometry, probability and probability. So that was my plan in simple terms. But maths was, I think, the main problem for me, and I think I put in a lot of hours for that. Turned out, end of the day, even though my score was the least in maths, my percentile was the highest in maths.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay. I get it. So how much did you score?
In maths, I scored 30 raw score, and I got scaled up to, I think, 31.9 or something.
Okay, that's a very good score. No?
Yeah.
Excellent score.
So my strategy was very simple. I decided I'm going to attempt less number of questions, but attempt everything right. So my strategy was I'll attempt 11 to 12 questions. On the day, I could only attempt 10, which I was very sad about. So, but turned out I got all the 10 correct. So that was good.
No, very good. No, in general, when people ask me, sir, I'm struggling in verbal. Some people tell me that, okay, I'm struggling in verbal, but I'll score very high in Quant and LRDF. Or the other way around. Some people say that I'm going to score very high in verbal and LRDF. I'll somehow manage Quant. I always tell them that, no, that should not be your attitude. Okay, your attitude has to be, I'm not strong at Quant, but I'll work so hard in Quant that it will become my strength. So I think because you put so much effort, even though you are still underconfident, like you were saying, you have scored highest in Quant, at least percentile wise. So that is good. So when you are preparing for CAT, how was your mindset in the last 2 weeks or so? Were you like stressed? Were you okay? Or
I was, I would say that I had this one very bad test where I somehow scored a 60 mark test. And at that point, I used to score around somewhere 80, 90, 100 range, 100 or 100 plus range. And then one test I just flunked. So I was like, I'll not give any more mock tests. And then for 3-4 days, 5 days, I didn't give any mock tests. Then one day I just rammed through everything. I was like, I'll give 2-3 mock tests. I won't check the score, but I just want to get in that flow. This is the last time I'm giving a mock test, and then I won't give any mock test. So that's what I did. In those last 2-3 weeks, I think my confidence was a little shattered because of that one bad mock test. But I think over a period of time, because I stopped giving mock tests, it came back to me.
Okay, that's good. That is fine. So which slot were you in?
3. That was actually very helpful for me because I knew that maths is going to be tough, and it actually played to my strength. That if I attempt less in a tough section, that will get me to the point where I want to be.
So how was it waiting for the exam to start on that day? Did you ask your friends, or were you looking at?
No, so we had this one group, and where people used to text how the paper was, and so basically there was this one thing that the first message will be a very general overview, nothing detailed to be discussed. Right, so I just checked the general overview, and I saw people are saying verbal ability is lengthy, DILR is difficult, and Quant is difficult. So I'm like, what is the easy line? So that was a very big problem for me. That what is easy? What will I attempt in the paper? But turns out, like in the paper, it was completely different, like from what people are saying. But still, like I was able to manage those expectations. I was able to handle it. Like a lot of people say, slot 3 is generally the most difficult.
True.
But I feel like it's a wrong statement to say because slot 3 gives you an advantage. You know what's coming in front of you. So I think that really helped me, especially for Quants. Because I became very picky in my selection. I thought, okay, even if I miss like 10 questions straight and I have to attempt the 11th question, I'll do it because I know that next 5 I'll be able to attempt.
True. No, that is true. I think people in general, every slot has its issues. I think slot 2 is technically the easiest. You have the best of both worlds. Slot 1 is completely uncertain. Slot 3 you have to wait a lot. even though you'll have information, I find that waiting to be very painful. Like many times for me, it is slot 3. And I have to wait. Everybody goes and gets done by 10:30. And slot 3 exam starts at 4:30.
4:30. It's the worst part.
Yeah.
But I feel it was good for me because I couldn't sleep the night before.
Yeah.
I was awake till I think 4:35. And then actually when I woke up, I think I got like 4.5 hours sleep. But still I was very wide awake.
Yeah.
I drank like 1 cup of coffee and I was like ready to go in. Yeah.
No,
my center was also very close to my house. So that is a very big advantage I felt I had.
Okay, good. Yeah. So once you gave the examination, you knew internally that you did well, or you had to wait for the response sheet, or?
I knew that I'll get above 99.
Okay.
Because I didn't know where the spike will come from, like the mark score spike, right? Because I thought my DLI was okay, I'll get above 30. My cons was okay, I'll get above 30. But I still didn't know how will I touch 100. And with verbal, you can never be sure in the paper. So I was pretty afraid of that, whether I'll get those very good marks in verbal. But turned out everything went well. So I was confident about the 99 plus, but to get 99.92 was a good surprise for me. Yeah.
So that you knew on the day of the response sheet?
Yeah. Oh. Then I knew. Then Cracku's score calculator and percentile predictor helped me.
No, but you would be like on the moon, right? When you see 99.9, especially with 99.2 earlier.
Yeah, definitely. I was very happy because I was also very unsure just before CAT 99.2 whether I'll be able to up that score, right?
Yeah.
So, but it turned out very well.
Very nice.
And like I remember I was at a friend's wedding that day and like in between everything I was like, okay, you guys go, I'll come later. And then I just opened the phone, my hand was like shaking a bit because it was my third attempt. So and this was my final attempt. But like turned out everything was okay.
How much did you score? Overall score?
It was 110 and it got scaled up to 113.82.
Okay, good. Yeah. So how much in verbal, how much in quant? Quant you said 30, LRD and verbal?
So I'll tell raw score. Raw score, my VRC was 50. It got scaled down to 48 point something. My LRDI was also 30.
Okay.
30, it got scaled up to 33.9. So I got a very high scaling for that. And in cons, it was 30 again, and I got it to 31.9.
Okay, very nice, man. Excellent scores. Yeah. So once this was done, did you take XAT also, or you didn't?
No. I only wanted to go to IIM, ABC.
Okay. So once the response sheet was out, how did you prepare for interviews? What were the things that you kept in your mind?
So very simply, I first talked to some of the seniors. And I just talk to them generally of how the interviews are, what they actually look into you, like what are they actually evaluating when they're in front of you. And they're actually not evaluating you on anything. They just want to do a behavioral test.
True.
Right? Yeah. They are sure that you are smart.
Yeah.
They just want to make sure that you are not behaviorally wrong.
True.
Right. So that's what I focused on.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll give my best shot. I'll be as honest as possible so that my answers are coherent at all times.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Like completely honest. Like at times I fumbled also in the interviews. But I think overall, because I was very honest in the interview, most of the interviews went really well. Yeah.
I think that is fine. So which one did you think was your best interview and which one did you think you didn't do too well?
My Bangalore interview was the best interview because the panelists were also very receptive of what I was saying. They were happy with me. They were actually smiling in front of me, which never happens generally. And they were nodding along. So I was also pretty satisfied with my answers. And they actually wanted to know my story. They weren't grilling me a lot. They just were interested in my story, why I wanted to switch from law to MBA, then what I did in my job. So all these were very pretty questions which I was actually prepared with. So it was very easy for me. And my worst interview would be FMS.
Okay.
Because I just felt the panel was completely off the charts.
Okay.
They started asking me, they asked me a question where it's like, list all the laws that you know. Okay. And I was like, how can I list everything that I know? And then I started listing down and I picked up any one random law. They started asking me in-depth questions for that. Yeah. So it was like very vague sort of interview.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
But I think there's a luck factor to these interviews also.
True.
Yeah.
No, what I feel is there is basically an unlucky factor in the sense that in most of the interviews, if you prepare well, you tend to do well, except in one or two where you are unlucky. Okay.
Yeah.
That basically happened to me, where many of the interviews, it went according to my plan. I prepared a lot for my interviews, a lot of introspection, a lot of planning strategy, all of that. Yeah. It worked out in most cases, except in one or two cases, where it was just like they asked me something so random at the start. Okay, then you just don't recover from there. Okay.
Yeah, and they grill you down on that. Once they know you're in the trenches, then they'll be like, let's make a bigger one.
Yeah. Because I think from their standpoint, they are interviewing so many people. Okay. And they're bored. Now, if they find this funny, or like entertaining, they just want to keep it going. But it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But okay, good. So now you converted B, you converted S. Did you convert C also?
Yeah. Okay. I have Bangalore, Calcutta, then Kozhikode, Shillong, Udaipur. I think these are the conversions till now. I'm waiting for Lucknow, Indore.
Huh.
I'm waitlisted.
26, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
I think ho jayega. Okay. So one thing I was interested in is they might have asked you in the interviews also, like you were saying, but I'm also interested. Why do MBA after being a lawyer?
So I'll tell you MBA answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So back in my 4th year of law school, okay, and so my brother has his own startup. To give you some context, and he's an engineer, IT sort of guy, and he was doing sales marketing. He was handling something which was completely out of his domain, right? And this was something that resonated with me as well, right? I do not want to be stuck to one domain. I do not want to do one thing for my entire life.
True.
So I was like, okay, I should give MBA a thought because this will allow me to explore multiple roles and not narrow down on a niche. But I was like, I don't want to jump right in. At least I'll get some work experience. Try what I've learned for 5 years and give it an honest shot, and then I'll come back. So I worked there for 2 years. Then in that phase also, I met a lot of private equity guys, a lot of CEOs who were from IIMs, right? So I like, okay, this is just giving me the right direction now. It's just showing me an example of what I can be in the future. So I was like, okay, then it's the right time to make the shift. And I think 2 years is the most ideal work experience also to shift. If you want to do an Indian MBA.
True.
Yeah. So that's why
I think good man. Yeah. I think this is also a sorted answer. Okay. No big confusion. Okay. No big picture. All of this.
Yeah. This is what I used for all my interviews, and they were pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
The only question I grilled at is what business will you do in your future? Because I talked about entrepreneurship. Then that's what I get grilled on. In my Calcutta interview, they completely grilled me on it. But somehow I converted it back under that also. So
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, good to have you. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can just have a chat afterwards.
Yeah, I just feel like how is Cracku growing now? I feel like because like year on year, I think Cracku has been producing better results. I feel like, and like a lot of people from Cracku and like this IRL meet also. Right? Something better has been going on. So now, what's the next step for Cracku now?
I'll tell you what we have been doing. So basically, we started in 2014. Okay. Now we were always growing. Okay, but the point is, we were kind of surviving for a long time. In the sense that because we were very small, okay, we were not getting any extra money to expand faster. Okay, whatever was coming was going into the expenses.
Okay.
But after a point of time, you start getting some capital. Okay, because we are completely bootstrapped. Okay, whatever capital we generated. Okay, then we were able to expand into like make good hiring decisions.
Yeah,
and then we are getting more growth. So basically, the reason we are becoming bigger or visibly bigger recently is because we were getting more capital, which has basically accumulated over. That effort at least accumulated over 8-9 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And because of that, we made some decent hiring decisions, because of which I think we are growing faster now. Okay.
Yeah.
For us, right now, we are focused on MBA, okay, Indian and GMAT. Okay. We are also thinking of going into the UG courses, okay, like IPMAT and all, which are again into like BBA plus MBA.
Yeah.
So we are doing these kind of things. We might expand into GAE. So let us see.
I think like I hope Cracku grows even bigger.
Yeah, man.
It really helped me. That's why.
Yeah. Like, one other thing I wanted to ask you is, this is something I always ask students, okay? Tell me one good thing you did in your MBA journey, okay? And one mistake that you made which you don't want future aspirants to make.
Okay. I started with one mistake. So one mistake that I did was I tried to diversify my sources a lot. I tried to solve from multiple places. Whatever content I used to get get my hands on, I used to solve it. But I think in my first attempt, I did that in those 2 months. And I think like I could not narrow down or go into deep dive into any one topic because of that. So I feel like anyone who's preparing for CAT right now, do not go into gathering a lot of content. Just solve whatever you have. Even though if you have just like 500 questions to solve, just solve those first. Don't think about, let me get some 500 more questions. I'll get 1,000 questions solved. Just deep dive into whatever you have.
True. Yeah.
That is one thing I would recommend people to not do.
Yeah.
And one thing that I would pick people to do is that just be calm. I feel like during the exam, right? If you are calm, that is, I think 60 to 70% of the battle won.
Yeah.
Like even if in the mock test, for example, even if you're scoring like 80%, 85%, 90%, on that particular day, if you are calm, that percentile can shoot up to the best of your imagination.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a luck-based game, and if you're calm, that luck will favor you.
True. I think both are very good suggestions. Yeah. So what are the features about Cracku that you liked?
So personally, I feel like I took Cracku for 2 reasons. First of all, I see a 5-time 100 percentile in front of me. I'm like, this guy knows he's the crack cat for 5 times. So he knows what he's doing. Secondly, I feel the LRDI content and Quant's content is really good for Cracku. It is, I think, one of the best because I've not tried all others, so I can't comment on others. but I feel like Cracku is one of the best institutes for specifically for LRDI and Quant. And the LRDI sets it will actually make you think.
Yeah.
It will make you like really go into the deep parts of your brain and solve those puzzles. I think that is very important to crack an aptitude based exam. So that is very good about Cracku. And plus, I feel the online form is also very comfortable for me. I can study at my own pace.
See, for me, I'm actually very like senti on the LRDI sets, okay? Because when we take the dash cats, when we make the dash cats also, I always want to have at least one set which is completely new, okay?
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 sets from the usual thing, but one set I always ask, okay, that we should try to make one set which is completely new, okay? Yeah. Because if you look at cat, okay, in the 5 sets, 3 will be more or less similar, okay? Then the pattern will be somewhat similar, but there will be 1 or 2 which is completely new, okay? And my strategy when I'm attempting the exam is, first I want to attempt one of these 3 sets, which is like known before I go into the like slightly crazy ones. Okay? So having those new sets is very important, okay? Yeah. And I'm very actually like proud of the fact that we make like this new sets.
Yeah.
Okay?
So I'll tell you this one instance, okay? I saw this Queens set. There's a game called Queens, okay? And then I got hooked onto the set. So now I play Queens on LinkedIn every day.
Okay.
Because of that one LRDI set, I got hooked onto the game and now I keep on playing it every day. So that is a very interesting thing for me.
Yeah. Cool, man. Okay.
Yeah.